Woman who thought cancer was just a spot had half her nose scooped out. Warning. Graphic content below. A sun-addict has told how what she thought was a pimple ended up being skin cancer. Radio presenter Janet Lujan said surgeons made her look like an alien after they scooped half the inside of her nose away like melon balls before using a live reconstructive skin flap to cover the hole. The radical surgical technique, stretching a flap of live skin fed by a vein from her forehead down to her nose so it covered half her face, left the 43-year-old feeling like a freak. Janet, who had surgery just before Christmas 2017, was diagnosed with basal cell carcinoma, a slow-growing form of skin cancer. She was left humiliated after going Christmas shopping, saying, "I was in tears because of the response I received from people. Strangers were looking at me. I'd catch their gaze and immediately they'd turn away, while the lady at the cash register hardly said 2 words to me. I was heartbroken when I left. It was such a shock to be treated that way. After that, I needed someone with me, because on my own I felt like a freak." Even after 7 traumatic months of treatment, Janet has still felt pangs of jealousy from seeing other people tanning. She confessed, "I still miss tanning and feel a little bit jealous when people say they're going down to the lake, or to the park, to lie in the sun. I do go sometimes. I'll just be covered from head to toe in the strongest screen I can find." When she first noticed the whitehead spot on the right side of her nose last summer, her firefighter husband, Ray, 46, suggested she went to hospital to have it checked out. She recalled, "I thought, no way. I'll look like the biggest idiot, going to see a doctor about a spot. It was a bit strange because it hurt, but I just thought I'd give it a few days until it was good and ripe and then squeeze it out. Then 2 days later it exploded on its own and it just wouldn't stop bleeding. Still, it just never crossed my mind that it could be skin cancer. But when, eventually, after 3 weeks of bleeding, I did go to the doctor, I found out that was what it was." Luckily, despite needing surgery once her cancer was diagnosed, as it was basal and not fast spreading, she did not need chemotherapy or radiotherapy. Janet continued, "I went to a surgeon who gave me more shots to numb my nose than I care to remember. After that, they essentially took a melon baller and kept scooping until all the cancer had gone. Then, left with a penny-size hole in her nose, going all the way down to the cartilage, Janet had reconstructive surgery, which involved rebuilding it by pulling a flap of skin down from her forehead, with veins and nerves still intact, and attaching them to the right side of her nose." She continued, "The treatment is rarer than a straight graft, which uses skin cut out from near your ear. That dead skin would be a different color, whereas the flap, cut from your forehead, is turned around and placed over your nose with a vein inside the skin. This then feeds the skin on the nose for 3 weeks, allowing it to be alive." While Janet was reassured that the finished result would look better than a skin graft, the treatment itself was grueling. At a consultation with the nurse a few days before surgery, she was even given a box of tissues, before being shown images of what the skin flap was going to look like. She said, "Seeing pictures of the kind of face I was going to have to live with for 3 weeks was very overwhelming. Basically, I had a gash from my eyebrow up into my hairline, with a vein hanging out of my head." She finally had it removed and her forehead stitched up on Boxing Day 2017. 6 months on, she says her surgeon did an extraordinary job, adding, "You don't ever think of what grade your surgeon got at med school until they're standing over you and stitching up your face. But he did an excellent job and people don't notice the mark where it was at all now." Now cancer-free, Janet admitted that before her skin cancer ordeal, she was in complete denial about her addiction to tanning. She said, "It's funny, because I never thought I was that person who had an addiction, but looking back now and seeing the pattern, I think I was." Theresa May leaves stormy EU meeting asking for Brexit talks to intensify. Journalists killed in Maryland shooting had over 75 years experience between them. Powerful front page of Capital Gazette day after mass shooting the night before ahead. The